You are listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, Episode 13, Savage Dragon, Issue number 6 and 7.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the dragon.
This is a Savage FINcast Retro, the show that washes its hands for more than 20 seconds. I'm Raven Perez.
I'm Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
And for the listeners who are uninitiated, a Savage FINcast Retro is where we, the FINcast hosts, take a look back at the past Savage Dragon issues that we haven't covered, Savage Dragon spin-offs, Savage Dragon one-shots, appearances, cameos, all that good stuff. We're going to take you back. We're going to look at that old stuff and go through it. And today, got some awesome stuff.
We got some
Jim?
really important issues to go over this episode.
Big time.
Yeah, this is a massive like pivot point for the early days of Eric Larson and Savage Dragon and all the spin-offs that follow.
Some would call these iconic moments.
Yeah, for a lot of people, this defines the Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
In particular,
Especially this one issue we're going to talk about.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Big time. That we know the one we're talking about. Lucky number 7.
Yes, we are going to be covering issue 6 and 7. So let's get right into issue number 6.
First off, right off the bat, just want to say, beautiful cover.
This is one of the best covers. It is certainly the best cover we've had so far.
Oh yeah,
it's one of those really iconic covers too. It's almost like I'd compare it to like Spider-Man with his uniform in the trash.
Jim, you fucking mind reader. That is literally, you stole the words right out of my mouth, dude.
Even though none of the imagery is similar, it is very similar. I would think evocative of that. Yes.
Yeah.
I was almost thinking, what's the X-Men number 138?
I don't know that.
Cyclops walking away. I mean, they do this later on in Freak Force, but it's X-Men, I think 138. Cyclops has got his bag over his shoulder and he's walking away from the X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
So it's almost a reverse.
Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, because it's the group in the background with Cyclops in the foreground, whereas this is Dragon in the background with the group in the foreground.
Well, the funny thing is they do an homage to that cover in Freak Force down the road as a variant.
Interesting.
Guys,
but yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
I never noticed something, but now that I'm looking at it, it looks weird to my eye.
What, that Hortus is there?
No, Hortus is awesome. Put her everywhere. No, look at Mighty Man's head, completely hidden in shadow.
Oh, Mighty Man is there.
Yeah, it looks weird.
I didn't even notice that.
What the fuck?
Doesn't he look weirdly headless?
Yeah.
I've never noticed that he was in that shot.
It is very, very strange. It almost seems like Eric intentionally cut his head out because not enough of like his ear would have been showing.
Right.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's really weird because the thing is you can see Barbaric's chest hair, so you even see kind of the top of the cape.
Yeah.
Defined, but it's like, man, there should be some head there, dude.
Although I get the idea might be that the collar is like put his entire head in shadow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very strange that there isn't any
this
highlight
is
at
the
all.
This is the first time I realized he was on the cover.
Which is double weird because he isn't, part of the Freak Force on the police force. He's just a character who, comes in.
He joins Freak Force later.
He's not leaving.
He comes in and saves the day and helps the police force, but he's not part of the police force leaving.
Right.
Yeah,
Nope.
Right.
Yeah, so it's funny because like I was looking at this cover, really drinking it up, and then I was like, man, this is a good cover, and then I get right at Mighty Man, and I'm like, whoa,
Yeah, there's really no need for him to be there.
It's a little weird. No, it's good. The other thing that catches my eye is underneath Eric's signature. It's a kind of a little weird squiggle I can't quite make heads or tails of.
Oh, yeah, there is a squiggle down there.
I don't quite know what that is.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me check something real quick. No, it's a letter. Olive and Rude. I don't think colorists sign their work.
Not back then. They for sure didn't. Doesn't matter. Just
Although
some things that
it's
caught
an
my
A
eye.
and a V.
Mm-hmm.
No, that doesn't make sense. I don't know what that is.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. Just a weird little thing that caught my eye. Yeah. Does anyone on the inside front cover? Anybody know what Josh Eichhorn drone from Sector 7G is?
I don't think that's a
reference
reference to anything. I think it's just
Simpsons.
Simpsons?
Yeah, yeah.
You're-
Mr. Burns. When Smithers and Burns always hogging it. Just do a Google drone from Sector 7G. It's always
Is that
like,
what?
It's Homer, isn't it?
Is that what
Homer works in Sector 7G. So the funny thing is, it's either always like, the drone from Sector 7G, or I don't know, the organ donor from Sector 7G, sir, or the
Beautiful.
whatever carbon mass from Sector 7G.
Did you know that, or did you Google that?
I knew Sector 7G was from Simpsons, but I didn't know if the Simpsons got that from another source. I didn't know if Simpsons was the source or not, but
I suspect it was.
yeah,
Perfect.
It is though.
I thought it was
sure.
just calling Josh Eichhorn a drone, and he just threw some letters together.
Well, that's perfect. Man, what a newscast.
Hey, before we jump in to that, I want to add something because we forgot to do this between issues 4 and 5. But if you remember, in the trades at this time, Eric was slopping in a lot of extra pages between issues.
Yeah, because issue 5 ended on a right-hand page for some reason.
Yeah. So if you guys have your trades, I don't know, but a force to be reckoned with trade has an extra page in it.
Between 4 and 5, or between 5 and 6?
Both. Well, we missed 4 and 5. In 4 and 5, he does a little more with Rapture's introduction to Dragon. Because if you remember, she kind of just shows up with the Force and kind of just really quickly put in. And so Eric expounds a little bit on that between 4 and 5 with like 4 extra pages. And they're real flirty. And she's like, she's telling Dragon, I thought you were taller. And he's like, what do you mean I'm 5'10"? He's like, that's average. And he's like, top of my fin is 6'6", if you want to do that. It's real fun banter. But for, and we kind of skipped that. But for between issues 5 and 6, there's one page, which I think is a pretty cool page. So right before this page of the newscast, the opening of 6, there's a page, and it's got the big skyscraper that I guess, is it Sears Tower? I don't know. That
Overlord's Tower.
Yeah,
It's the R. Richard Richards building.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he's up in the penthouse, and the bad guy assassin, one of his cronies, comes in.
Who's cool looking, by the way.
Yeah. And we see him a bunch as the series progresses. He doesn't really do much ever, but he comes in and he's like telling Overlord, he's like, see how nicely it all works out? The cops are doing the work for you. I led them right to the Annihilator's hideout. Cyberface and his rival gang are as good as history. And then Overlord gets pissed off that he calls them a rival gang. He's like, no one rivals Overlord. He chokes the shit out of Assassin, as he is to do.
Well, I'm shocked Assassin survived this.
Yeah. But the big thing here is this little tidbit of information that kind of really builds in the story. And it's Overlord's upset because Cyberface knows who he is and who he is behind the mask.
Right.
So he's like, if this knowledge gets to the police, he's going to kill Assassin, basically. He's like, make sure, nothing happens because it'll be on you. So he's real concerned about Cyberface kind of talking to the cops.
Can you imagine being a guy named Assassin and you get assassinated? That's death with no honor. That's what
I'm sure it's happened before.
Embarrassing.
But I thought that was a cool little page that kind of emphasizes how worried Overlord is of Cyberface out there.
It is good, yeah. I do think that's a nice little extra, nice little addition.
So a cool thing I think about this issue's first page is that we don't really see something like this very often, where we're basically getting it's in ways it's a recap page. It catches up with the status of certain characters, and it also sort of sets up a few things that are going to be happening in the near future. It moves a bunch of stuff forward, and I think pages like this are important just to kind of like build like a setting, I guess.
Hilariously, I believe they're downplayed more these days because people were bitching about them.
Really?
I remember on the forums, people were like, really raising a ruckus. They're like, well, I get it. From month to month, that helps. But when you're reading trades, it's awkward. Not that he takes his advice from the peanut gallery, but I mean, hey, there's definitely less of it these days. So,
yeah,
for sure.
But just this first page, it's you're starting to see, if you're looking back, and we are in these retro things, that how much of Eric's universe is expanded. You got the Shrew one, the Shrew the Shrew panel, which kind of references Savage Dragon 1.
Yeah, well, it references the Shrew, and it references the Wicked Worm, or the Leech at least.
You've got
Vanguard and Supreme.
Yeah, that references Vanguard 1 and 2.
Yep.
Super Patriot references the Mini.
Yep.
And
Covenant of the Sword stuff. Youngblood.
Cesspools, Savage Dragon 4. I forget if R. Richards is...
I don't know if R. Richards has made a large contribution yet.
Yeah. But there's a lot going on in Savage Dragon at this time.
Oh, and the Sam Hayes again.
Yeah. Which because at this point, people are still wondering if he's Mighty Man and Shazam and stuff like that.
Who is Mighty Man?
I mean, at this time, you've got Phyllis Dieter calling Mighty Man Sam, for reasons we'll find out later.
And then we get a couple of really cool double page splashes. You don't really see this very often. 2 double page splashes in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it really works.
Sure it does. Why wouldn't it?
Well, it just... All right. It's just in the first double page spread, we see Dragon going from left to right, punching a dude.
Yeah.
But when you turn the page, we're focused on Hortus getting hit from behind. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a smooth transition between scenes or between moments.
What should it have been?
I don't know. Because you see her getting hit by shrapnel here in the first page, and then she's getting hit again by Cyberface immediately. I guess
I just figured she was getting the shit beat out of her,
Yeah, I mean, she is, yeah. I mean, they're great pages.
Because, I mean, if you look at Shrapnel, there is sequential storytelling. Because Shrapnel's beating the shit out of her, and then Barbaric's right behind Shrapnel. And then you flip the page, and, Shrapnel's getting his mitts on... Barbaric's getting his mitts on Shrapnel, but then Cyberface is just laying the hammer down on Hortus.
I mean, same thing with Dragon in the foreground, the first double, and then the second double, he's in the shadows in the back.
No, wait, he is?
Yeah, see the silhouette.
So how did he get? If he was in front of them, how did he get behind them?
Because the view is from the other side now.
Is it? I guess that's what doesn't read to me. Is that that's what you wanted to do? It should have been a stronger indication of that.
Yeah.
But that's
you're right, though. You don't really see 2 double page splashes, and I don't think Eric would typically do this anymore.
Right.
I don't think it's as strong storytelling to do that. I think you save them for more impact. But
I think he wanted to show a big battle scene, and that's how he decided to do it. Is just have 2 splash pages showing 2 big group shots.
Yeah.
And like I said, they look good. I just don't think they work great right next to each other like this.
It's crazy. Go down the list of Annihilators.
All right,
I wrote this down real quick.
You did? Okay, good.
You got Animal 1, who's dead now.
Wait, which one's Animal 1?
He's the
you
big
be specific.
guy with the teeth.
Go clockwise.
So for the listeners listening, if you're looking along and flipping along in your book, Animal 1, he's got the 3 fingers. He's getting kicked by Dart on the first page.
Okay.
You got Bloop, who's somewhere in this issue, and I don't think he's on these splashes, but he's the watery guy. Animals, not this animal, another animal's brother.
Right.
Which is confusing. Supposedly Bulldozer's on this issue, but I don't see him anywhere. He was in the previous issue. He's got a weird kind of Iron Man type helmet. I don't know.
Okay.
Death Mask, he's deceased, and he's a skull guy. He's not in either of these two splashes, but he shows up in later panels. Demolisher, I forget which guy that is. I think he might be the one getting punched in the face.
In the yellow and blue?
The guy getting punched in the face in the first double page spread, that's the only time you've ever seen him.
Okay.
And we've never seen his face.
Nope.
Well, then I'm going to dub him Dick Bulge.
Yeah, he's got a big one, don't he?
Yeah, well, it's just the stretch marks are really selling it. You know what I'm saying?
He's way into getting punched in the face.
Doubleheader shows up somewhere. Not in these pages. Dung shows up.
Oh, Dung shows up in a big.
Oh
way.
yeah, he's in this issue in strong form.
The guy getting punched in the face is Flatline. And that's the only time you've ever seen him.
And so we've never seen his face.
Yeah,
Nope.
his only picture on the wiki is that face punch. What a Mr. Man.
Love
Inadequate Lightning. He gets his head knocked off by Barbaric at some point in this book.
Is that what his name is? Because that is a great scene where Barbaric just knocks that guy's head off by accident.
it. Yeah, he's like, oops.
That is one of the great Barbaric moments.
He comes back in the Savage world to get killed by Solar Man.
I gotta say that I love his Thunderhead lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Inadequate lightning.
Low Blow, of course.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's favorite.
Shard.
Wait, is that Shard? Why do I always think his name's Shrapnel? I think that's a Superman character.
Shrapnel's like a DC guy.
Yeah.
Warhawk.
You know,
He's kind of
I guess
goofy-looking
Cyberface.
guy with the long hair.
I guess Cyberface is actually in the first double page splash. He's in the background behind Rapture,
He is, yeah, running.
which just makes the choreography all the stranger, to be completely honest.
Oh, Demolisher is like a robot guy with these long horns, and he's in the second splash, and he's like
Getting knocked backwards,
getting knocked
upside
in the
down.
air.
Yeah.
There's never ever a good he's always one of those guys in the background that's kind of barely scribbled.
Always hidden.
But yeah, that's it. I think the guy Ultimatum, he's got the blue skin and he has that weird goofy hat. I don't know if you guys have ever seen him before. He's later on in the book, but he's not on these two splash pages. He shows up a bunch of times and he's just like the weirdest looking character.
I'm looking for Ultimatum right now.
You said he's in a weird hat?
He's got a weird golden. He's got blue skin with a golden hat.
Because all the supervillain stuff is in the front. I don't see anything in the later part of the book.
Yeah,
he's on the page right after the Mighty Man splash.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The one that says "Pow," the panel that says "Pow."
right.
He's to the left.
Oh, is he that one with the house on his chest or whatever that is? No, wait. Oh, okay. I'm looking at him
He's got
upside
blue
down.
skin and a yellow.
Yeah, he's got a weird head thing going on.
Yeah, he shows up a bunch in Savage Dragon in little roles, but he's just one of those weird guys. So anyway, I'm sure that the listeners are bored to tears now.
I don't know, but the thing about this issue is that there's a lot of villains in it.
Yeah, it's cool. The Annihilators. They never really got their day.
Yeah. Well, they kind of exist to die.
I mean, I guess in the Savage world, they expound on it a little more, but
Because they were Cyberface's team, so logically in the Savage world, Cyberface didn't get captured and die immediately, so they lasted a bit longer.
there's also, go ahead.
Because
I was gonna say technically they would have been there, right?
In the Savage world, this fight is just Dragon and Hortus, and nobody else, and it goes really badly, really quickly.
Yep. I forgot about Mind Warp, the skull that's got the brain in it. It's got a lot of brain guys.
I assume he's making Eric. I assume he's making Dragon hit himself.
Yes,
It doesn't come across. At first.
No, that's some hard choreography.
Yeah, the first panel where he's punching his own face, breaking his nose, it looks like he just punched Brainwave, just punched him. It takes the second panel to tell you that he's punched himself.
Right, stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Yeah, so Brainwave has minor mind control powers, but we'll eventually find out Dragon can become immune to mind control. In this particular case, it seems like Mind Warp just lost his concentration to get...
It just wasn't good enough.
He just wasn't good enough to outwit Dragon.
I do like when villains like actually use their powers, because Eric's got so many throwaway villains that you never know what their powers are and you just assume they're super strong.
Right.
That it's nice to see when they do use powers and it's like, oh, that's what that guy does.
Which is he? What's this idiot with the hair and the green cross on his chest that Dart kicks in the balls? That's Warhawk.
Yeah, which I would never guess by that name.
Yeah, he's got
the one that gets darted in the throat by Dart.
Yeah.
His costume is super lame.
Yeah, it's like a chick's costume or something.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
He just looks like a dope.
Yeah, talk about like a throwaway dork. Man, he got it. He got what he deserved. I think there's good action in this, though. I really love the fighting, the action, like the shit tons of interesting, villains of cool designs. Even the tiny sequence of Dragon hitting himself, it's just interesting.
Right.
It's crazy. It's like Rapture goes from being just like some hooker to like fighting super villains.
Yeah.
Like she's not super strong.
She's very fit.
Yeah, it's lightning powers, man. It makes you a contender in this world.
It is super hilarious how she just walks around, just in like nothing.
Well, she's in what like a Playboy bunny outfit. Like that's her costume.
It's just funny.
Yeah, it's like super high waisted, like one piece.
With
Dude,
like the garter belt or whatever it is for some reason.
I feel like it warrants mentioning that, like, for listeners who maybe are potentially new, if you have never heard the guy that Dung is based on, you really got to look him up, because it totally gives you a different read on his text. I never read that stuff the way it actually sounds. And once you hear the DJ that Dung is based on, you will never read Dung's dialogue the same again.
Yeah, he's from some San Francisco radio show. M. Dung.
Yeah, it's in the letters column of the next issue, so we'll get it. But
his real name is Mike Slavko.
Yeah, they said he used to stop by the studio, and Eric thought he'd make a great villain. So I was like, that's fantastic, dude.
Birthday, feel the power of Dung, you eye.
Yeah, like, that's it. Yeah, baby. Like,
I love that panel, though, when Rapture just covered in shit.
Right.
It looks so gross.
It's awesome, dude. It's awesome.
So, like I said, Barbaric's one of my favorite Barbaric moments is when he punches this guy's head off. But when he smashes the teleporter, that's another great moment. Also, I guess Bloop must die right here.
Bloop?
Because Bloop's in the teleporter pad when Barbaric breaks it.
Oh yeah, but they don't say that. It just they don't know if he died or not. They died or not, which they didn't. I don't think.
When I was reading this issue, I thought, wouldn't it be funny if they just showed up one day?
now,
but but this event never happened in the Savage world, and Bloop's story has already been dealt with, so that can't happen.
All those years later, you know.
That the Mighty Man splash is pretty rad though. Like the cops are all getting their asses handed to him, and all of a sudden he just kind of blows through the wall, and like one swoop of fist there just knocks everyone to the ground, and they just all take off.
I love Dart telling Dragon off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I was gonna say I think it's funny, the Elvis reference.
Yeah.
It's like, here we are in 2020 now, and as a kid, I remember thinking, I was like, man, are people going to fucking talk about Elvis forever? But it's finally over.
It's finally
people don't
over.
People don't really talk about Elvis now.
Yeah, apparently all the Elvis memorabilia collectors are all getting hosed because no one gives a shit about Elvis anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that a story?
They invested thousands and thousands of dollars in Elvis memorabilia as like a retirement plan. And young people don't care about Elvis, so it's all going to the garbage dump.
I can believe that.
Because people are dying and leaving all this stuff, and it's not selling in estate sales.
That's hilarious.
It is.
Yeah.
But Dragon's line here is a direct callback to something Dart said. He said to Dart like an issue ago.
Oh, lay it on us. What do you mean?
I mean, literally, Dragon was taunting Dart, saying, "Oh, did he see Elvis?" or something along those lines. That's a direct callback to a conversation they had.
Awesome. I wouldn't have caught that. It's good, dude. I love that Dung gets so much dialogue in this one. Oh, day! It's good, dude. Oh, it's classic. Yeah, and...
Yeah, so...
Moving along, we get to see the Rodney Schwartzblatt, like that little narrative. Granny gets to meet Dragon. And of course it doesn't pan out. Like, he's not fucking that guy. But can I stop, though, like this Jay Lee poster real quick in the middle? Can we talk about that for 2 seconds?
Wait, one sec. Before you get to that, I do want to say that Eric early on is dropping hints that Ann Stevens' Mighty Man.
Lay it on me.
Just by him kind of sitting by Hortus's bedside and stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the bigger clues, yeah.
Oh, shit, I didn't realize that, dudes.
The Jay Lee.
I did not realize that was a little, clue at all.
I mean, I feel like
because Mighty Man says straight up, well, he talks about she's recovering and it'll take her a while to heal. Why would Mighty Man make that assertion if he was a trained medical professional?
Right.
You're right.
So, this Jay Lee poster.
Right. Yeah, dude. And it's funny because even the little thing, it says, a twisted poster insert by Jay Lee.
Yeah.
And this is some crazy shit for sure.
This is the first time I'm really taking a look at it. He's punting Super Patriot's head off.
Just kicking
He's got a regular foot.
No, it's got 2 toes.
He's only got
Is that 2 toes?
That's 2 toes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right.
He's got
it looks like he made a regular foot and maybe they fixed it.
Those sunglasses are pretty great.
Yeah, I was going to say he fucked up on the... Like, Dragon doesn't have a big toe and a little toe. He's got 2 big toes.
Right.
So, like, the foot's, weird. But also, and I love Jay Lee. I love his shit. I think it's weirdly... It's funny because, like, it's kind of, like, wrong, but it's also so right. Mm-hmm. And, like, just, like, Dragon's body hair, dude. It's so weird.
That's how his, like, Namor issues were. Remember when he was doing Namor for a while?
No, I never read it.
It got dark, like, real dark Namor. It was cool. I liked it. I mean,
this is early Jay Lee. I mean, he started out at, like, in Liefeld's camp, right?
No, Jay Lee was doing Marvel for a while. He was already huge by the time Image started.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's a legend.
I feel like he broke out on Namor.
I didn't really know anything about him until like 1998 when he was doing, like, that Inhuman series.
Jay Lee fell on my radar through Image, but, like, it was, like, Hellshock. Like, so for me, I'm like, I got, like, Jay Lee, I found out about him, like, late as hell. But, like, yeah, man, I just love his shit. I love the way like, it's funny that the contents of this is so fucking weird. Like, just Dragon delighting and kicking Super Patriot's fucking head off. But as far as, like, drawings go, I mean, I love it. That weird, like, small... like wife beater, like the wife beater's just skinny as shit. And his tie, like, look at that tie, dude, it's out of control. He's wearing a tie with a wife beater, guys.
Oh, he is. I was more focused on that, like, huge chain he was wearing for his badge.
Cops just let him have a pimp chain to put his badge on. Or his, like, weird, like, it's funny because the gun looks pretty normal, but the gun holster looks pretty futuristic.
Oh, yeah, it's got a lot of straps.
Yeah, I love it.
So Jay Lee was doing Namor from 92 to 93, and then he jumped on to X Factor for a few, regular Spider-Man, and at the same time in 93, he was doing Wildcats trilogy and Youngblood Strike File.
Okay, so he's all over the place.
But I feel like when I was collecting comics at the time, like, he had really busted out with Namor, and it was such, like, a dark. He was using a lot of those heavy inks, the splatters and stuff like that.
So he was coming into his own.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys look up like Namor issue 38 or 37, you can see like what Namor looked like. It was kind of like the extreme Namor in a way.
Did it look kind of like this? Like...
So he
yeah, big time.
No, wait, I was gonna say he followed Byrne, but Byrne didn't do Namor till later.
Byrne was writing first and drawing Namor because remember he came out with his own series, and I feel like
because was he still doing Superman at that point? He must not have been.
I don't know if he was still writing it, but I could be wrong.
I just want to give props to Jay Lee is all, because I feel like he's one of those guys that has been good as long as I've been alive,
right?
And is still good. Like his art mutated and changed, and it didn't get worse. It got like even fucking better. Yeah, like it's so good. I mean, I'll take any Jay Lee era art you want, like modern Jay Lee, old Jay Lee. Like I fucking love it all.
Even all those Dark Tower series.
Dude, I like those covers. I didn't read the issues, but I couldn't slight the covers. They look fucking good, you know?
So the rest of this issue is about basically Barbaric, Rapture, Dart, and Ricochet all getting sick of the restrictions the police department's been putting on them.
Right,
and then because paperwork, can't do their job properly, can't use violence against violent criminals, all that nonsense. Because that's the thing. This is basically the issue where they decide to quit the police force and strike it out on their own, right? Which we will talk about at a future date. But it is kind of weird going back through these issues that these characters were only on the police force for like 2 issues.
Oh yeah, hardly at all. Yeah. And what's hilarious is they're in cop uniforms for 1 panel,
and it's a great panel. I love that panel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although there's a cover of them in cop outfits.
Issue 4 has Barbaric in a cop outfit.
Isn't there a cover of them all in? Oh yeah, Barbaric. Okay, you're right.
We talked about that. I think you were complaining that Barbaric was the only one in the cover.
But what's so funny is that like I do love them in their outfits. Like I think like Rapture's is slutty, you know, and like just think. And I also wanted to say I think it's hilarious that like this even all these years ago, Eric's like got the argument going, which he's kept. This argument has been consistent. If you like watch his Twitter or whatever, anytime it comes up, when people are like, "Why do superheroes dress that way?" and he's like, "Well, they dress like athletes, so they have freedom of motion." Yeah, and like here's Dart saying that very same shit. She's like, I need to move.
She's like, he always makes that argument of like armored Batman versus like, you know, cloth suit Batman or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, if you were armored, you couldn't move. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's funny that like here it is like in the comic all those years ago.
Can we talk about this issue 6 of these 2 pages? I guess after Miss Schwartzblatt comes, and there are 2 6-panel pages, which is the first I feel like we've seen in this series. Like Eric so far in the series has been really flashy, bigger panels.
Oh yeah.
This like harkens back to like just traditional, which you know teenage me would have probably hated, but now I look back and I prefer these in a way. I really enjoy the aesthetic of it, and I feel like there's a lot of information getting kind of shown, and I think it helps the storytelling a lot. Like I prefer these now over the splashes or the 2-panel pages.
In general, this issue's layouts have calmed down like considerably.
Off the extreme stuff, you mean? Like 90s extreme?
No, I mean off what Eric was doing in previous issues.
Right.
Like he was doing wackier panels, like crazier like stuff with like sound effects. This feels more like a traditional, even a modern Savage Dragon comic in comparison.
Does. Big time. I also think it's kind of nice to have some visual continuity. The guys that are watching over Vanguard, like those are the same guards and the get-up that you'll see in Vanguard. Yeah, later on. It's neat. It's cool.
The thing I was confused about, I thought they put like villains or superpower guys in like that Supermax prison, but apparently, and you'll see this in Vanguard because it's referenced in Vanguard, but this is in like some sub-basement of the Chicago Police Department.
Well, I'm sure they have holding cells. I mean, there's a difference between holding and prison. You don't go straight to prison. You got to go to holding first, and then you get transferred before your court date, depending on how dangerous you are.
And to support what Jim's saying, the news guy even says that the Vanguard has a public defender that is trying to make his case that he didn't know what he was doing, like, during his fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he hasn't probably been sent to
wouldn't-
county yet.
I just wouldn't assume that they would have the hardware to hold like a superpowered guy.
I mean,
Chicago, Craig.
Chicago has a super freak problem, and that's why Dragon's here. So if they're actually having some success at catching these guys, they got to have some place to put them to interrogate them and hold them. Now, whether or not they can actually hold them is another question entirely. I mean, Vanguard doesn't want to escape. He's a good guy.
This is that same cell where they can, like, just electrocute the shit out of you if you try to get away.
Right.
Yep. That's cool. It's cool. I like Dragon telling Cyberface he's in deep doo-doo. It's just funny.
Yeah.
Dragon is away with words.
Deep
Wordsmith.
doo-doo.
Dart and Mighty Man just having a cup of coffee at the cafe, and everyone just staring at him.
Exactly. And Dart kind of looking like she got like a Jedi robe over her Dart costume.
Yeah, she does have a full robe on. I thought it was just a jacket, but you're right. It's down to her ankles.
It's
just
like a
trench coat.
Trench coat, yeah.
Also, again, it's funny, like, Captain Stewart, which it's so funny, you dudes, you bros told me, you were like, guys, I said something dumb about, I was like, oh, Captain Stewart, and you're like, dude, he's been in the book forever.
Well, he
And I was
hasn't,
like,
because apparently this is a different
there's
Captain Stewart than the
multiple.
one we know.
Yeah.
Apparently, for whatever reason, there's a James Stewart and a John Stewart, and they are not related, but they have the same mustache. It's... I don't know if that's Eric just saying fuck it, or if it's a joke, or if it's just he forgot one day and said, oh, these can't be the same guy, I just changed their name.
You
Yeah,
gotta sneak it.
the newer one is heavier set, like stockier.
Yeah. I mean, he would be older, but yeah, yes, he is stockier. But, yeah, that's the deal, is that this guy gets killed by Inferno in an upcoming issue.
Mm-hmm.
In the Savage world, I think that still happens. And then
Yeah,
when Frank dies, the new Captain Stewart shows up. And he's a different guy.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So it's cool.
I like Phyllis Dieter shows up. I don't think we've seen her yet in the book besides in a backup.
Yeah, just
And
for a
so-
panel. For
Oh, that's right.
continuity.
Yeah, she shows up. And that's actually a really...
It's her house.
It's her house, yeah.
So at this point, Freak Force is still kind of... Mighty Man's operating out of her house.
It's funny to
and
think of
she's
them
meeting
as
up with
just
Freak Force.
being in her house, like in her apartment. Like, I hadn't read Freak Force, and of course we're going to cover it on an upcoming retro, but like I hadn't read Freak Force until, I was prepping for these shows, and just them sitting around in that house, I was like, what the hell? What? But obviously, it's funny, it makes a lot of sense. You wouldn't just come out of the gate and be like, well, I guess we've got a headquarters. It's a
We
very
gotta
natural
go to the
thing.
Justice League.
To the Hall of Justice.
That's it. The Hall of Justice. That's what I meant. Dope.
Mildred leaves Frank.
Yeah,
she just can't
that's a
take it.
thing.
Yeah,
Frank's life is spiraling.
yeah.
And she got her leg broken in the past. She didn't realize it was. She thought it was an accident, but come to find out, VC goons are messing with her.
But the real important thing is that Cyberface has agreed to talk, and so now they have enough evidence to arrest Dark Lord. Not Dark Lord, what am I saying? Overlord. Too many lords.
Yeah, I love that panel with them all in the cop uniforms.
Yeah, it's great, dude. I love it. Like I said, like Rapture makes sure to make her slutty, and like Hortus's spikes are just poking out her back.
Yeah.
It's fucking
And
hilarious.
Ricochet doesn't care because she's too young to be on the Force anyway.
Right.
It's awesome. You got to think, like, some poor bastard had to like order and make a cop shirt for Barbaric, and he fucking wore the thing for like less than a day.
It's true. Yeah, a giant ass patch of like Chicago police patch they would have to put on his shoulder.
Exactly.
Whoever
Like
embroidered that is pissed.
It's all fucking giant, but his badge is tiny. I love it. I love it, dude.
I love the panel where after the super cops kind of leave and it's Dragon all alone in the office, how Eric chose to just like color the floor all black and it really sets the tone. Like, that's something I would never think of, and it's just a good device to kind of set that, like, all alone type tone.
It really, the atmosphere, like, starts on the panel below where, like, Dragon's all isolated and everyone else in the office is in silhouette, and then, like, it's just him in the door.
It's symbolism. It's symbolism.
Yeah.
It's good, dude. I love it. I love it. And then, of course, he's still got good old Alex.
Yeah, then Alex shows up and brings his world back.
Yeah. Spent a lot of time training, but don't worry about it, dude. You're good. Missed you, big guy. Good to have you back. And then Frank's like, time to take down Overlord.
That's such a weird panel, because it's nothing you've seen Eric ever do again. Like that weird, like Overlord in the background clenching a fist. It's like a weird...
It's a manga kind of thing to do.
Yeah. It looks super cool.
It is very cool. I love it. And if he wants to do more of it, more power to him. But you're right. He really doesn't do that kind of thing. I wonder why. Like, usually in Savage Dragon, when you see a scene, it's exactly what's happening in the moment. But it's cool. Yeah. It's atmospheric as fuck. So that's that. That's that for this issue. And, man, these were the days, all these letters.
Dude, can we talk about one of these letters?
Lay it on me.
All right. The first column, the very bottom. Will any other artist do Dragon by Dennis Brophy? It says, yes, I'm writing a Savage Dragon miniseries that Adam Hughes will be drawing, and Jason Pearson is writing and drawing a Savage Dragon miniseries. Nobody is scheduled to draw in any fill-in issues of the regular Savage Dragon series yet, but I wouldn't rule out the possibility.
Wow.
Man, times have changed.
Yeah. Wow. Matt, what a different mindset 1993 had, huh? It would be blasphemy. Do you know what the fuck? It would make headlines. Be like, Savage Dragon has first fill-in artist in 28 years.
I mean, it happened on issue 13.
Not really.
Yeah, not really though.
He did his own thing.
It wasn't a fill-in. It was like a cross-company thing, and then he went back and redrew it. But I think at that time he wasn't thinking that he was going to draw every issue.
It's just so fucking crazy, though. It's crazy to think that he wouldn't be thinking that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would love to, like know what that kind of, like, mindset, like, what was he thinking? Like, yeah, one day I'll just get someone else to do this book, you know, and I'm like, just sit back and get some royalties or something. Like, it's just so different. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I didn't really have time to pour over all these letters. But my God, dude, that's like dramatically different.
You know
what I mean?
That one stuck out to me. But I mean, we're talking about issue 6, and a lot of things that change in the years, and it's like, who knew what his mindset was?
So real quick about the ads. There's a Freak Force ad back here, which of course we're going to be reading in a very near future episode. But I want to talk about this big double-page Gen 13 spread.
Yeah, dude.
So. The thing about this, it's advertising from the creators of Wildcats and Stormwatch. Mm-hmm. What really jumps out at me, though, is the credited creators, Jeff Scott and Alex Gardner. It took me like a few minutes to realize,
J. Scott.
That's what?
J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah, J. Scott Campbell.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is like a point before he decided to brand himself, or.
Well, if you guys remember, he had art in a letters column of Savage Dragon before he was even like doing anything really pro.
Well, the joke I was going to make is finally the guy who got his art ran in Nintendo Power has got a gig.
Yeah. Well, I forget. It was one of these earlier issues of Dragon that his art was published in the letters pages.
Yeah, it was quick turnaround. I think he was in the mini.
Yeah,
he was in the mini, and then here we are where it's only issue like 6, and J. Scott's got a series at Image. It's fucking crazy.
I thought that Gen 13 came out for a few issues as Gen X, and then was either
You are
issue
thinking of
notice
a
by
Marvel
Marvel.
book.
No, I think that's what he's saying,
no.
though, is it was initially Gen X, and then Marvel said, no, you can't call it that.
Yeah, so
Oh.
I thought it came out actually, like the first issue or two is Gen X, but I guess they caught it beforehand. But I do remember...
It might have solicited as Gen X.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, but it's here in the ads as Gen 13 already, so I guess it never came out as Gen X, but it definitely was at one point solicited as Gen X.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Pop quiz. Oh, by the way, you are correct. Yeah, your comic history's right. Yeah, it was Gen X, and then Marvel put the kibosh on it, and they became Gen 13.
Yeah.
I know Jim can do it, so I'm going to ask you, Craig. From left to right, can you name the members of Gen 13?
I can.
No, I can only name Grunge.
I can name them all.
Go for it,
And
Jim.
it's not
know
because
you
I
can.
care about this book at all. It's just for whatever reason I know all these characters.
Gen 13's fun, but keep going.
It's Fairchild, Freefall.
No, from left to right.
Oh,
and that
you
is
mean
not
the ones you mean from the? Don't just list them.
on the ad.
Oh, that is that the first one is? I lost my train of thought. Rainmaker.
Right.
I'll be honest. I don't know who Scowley is. I think is it John Holt?
It's John Lynch.
Lynch. Okay. Okay, I don't know who this guy is at all.
I thought it was Bobby, but this guy looks like
That's
he's got a
Grunge.
robot eye.
No, Grunge is in the third. Is with Freefall in the fourth.
Oh,
panel.
I see.
And
Okay.
then Fairchild's the last one.
Right.
So I don't know who this dude with the sword in his hand, I guess, is.
Yeah, I would have thought that was Bobby,
It's
Mr.
got names
Lynch's
on the
son.
side. Aegis.
Oh,
no,
well, that's
Aegis
helpful.
Interest.
Except it's purple and it's hard to read on black.
It
Lynch
doesn't have his name. I don't see his name
What
there.
Threshold?
Maybe.
Oh, you know what? I don't think Rainmaker.
Threshold.
It's not Rainmaker. I think Threshold might be there. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know Gen 13.
Oh, fuck.
I-
right. Well,
I was
hey.
talking to fellow Savage Dragon fan Mark Welser today, and we're talking about Wildstorm. And right as we were talking, it dawned on me that Wildstorm is just the combination of Wildcats and Stormwatch.
Yeah.
That's how lazy the name was. I just never clicked with me.
Oh, that's funny, dude. I never realized that either.
I never thought about that until I was like, wait a minute. Did they just put Wildcats and Stormwatch together? Like,
So that
that's
means...
pretty lazy.
So, Wildcats and Stormwatch, if they make Wildstorm, then wouldn't there also be, like...
Catwatch?
Catwatch? I would like to be a member of Catwatch.
Watch cats.
I mean, Wildcats and Stormwatch, I believe, are always connected because I think they were like two sides of like the same conflict or something. Because
It's all connected. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was that little Wildstorm universe. What's funny is that quietly grew into so much more. Like it became Authority and Planetary and like all that.
Stormwatch evolved into Authority, and then Planetary was kind of its own thing. I don't think it actually existed in the Wildstorm universe, at least officially.
Oh, it totally did.
Because there's no references to anything in it. I've read
They had a crossover with the Authority.
Well,
and
they had
everything.
they had a crossover with the Justice League. That doesn't mean anything.
No, they had a cross. Like I'm just telling you, dude. Like they're connected because they would talk about each other and stuff. Like in Planetary, they talked about like Apollo and shit. Like
Did they? Because I guess I glossed over that part because I read it like last year and I don't remember that.
Not like extensively, but I mean they were in the same world. Yeah, totally, they were in.
I mean, in Planetary, they dealt with Superman type characters and dead Superman.
I'm just
type
saying, like
characters.
Mr. Majestic and all those dudes, all that Wildstorm shit was a universe. Like you know how Dragon had.
Oh,
like,
I know.
His little...
I know it's a universe. I mean, I read some of it.
All right. Well,
I
what
just
are we
don't.
talking about?
Well, I just don't think Planetary is part of the universe. I think it was Authority, Wildcats, Gen 13, and
They would talk about shift ships. Okay, there's your proof right there. You know the guy that was basically Shazam? He drove a shift ship, which is the same thing that the Authority used as a headquarters, was a shift ship.
oh,
all right, Wildstorm cast.
Yeah, Savage Wildstorm cast.
all right. And the back cover is Vanguard 3, which we talked about in a previous episode.
But hold on, I just want to say that it is Joe Mad, and like if you were just seeing that for the first time as a kid, your fucking lid was flipped, because goddamn, that's great.
My lid's flipped because it says Vanguard and the Savage Dragon are copyright Eric Larson. I thought Gary Carlson owned Vanguard.
They co-own it, I think. They're co-creators.
I see.
Enough said. Can I ask you guys a question about Savage Dragon number 7?
Okay.
Oh, moving along. As you were. No, mine's on different stock than 6. Paper stock.
Does it have a big barcode in the corner?
Yes.
That's a newsstand edition.
Then I need to get the glossy one.
You do.
Because this is yellowed as shit in places.
Yeah, newsstand editions were all non-glossy for whatever reason.
They're hard to find, too.
Direct market ones are glossy.
That's strange.
Although I will be curious if there are additional ads in the back, because you were talking about letter pages. The direct edition I have is literally all letter pages all the way to the back cover.
Same on this newsstand edition.
Really, I'm shocked that they did that.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very weird because I don't think that happens anywhere else.
Yeah, letter pages on the back page is fascinating in its weirdness.
Yes, dude. Yeah, it is incredibly weird and yet very awesome because they got so many letters. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of letters. And they print all the way to the back cover. It's fucking incredible. So I'm glad you taught me something, dude. I didn't even know this was what this was. And like there's a section where it's not quite a full bleed page. Like it's like dragging, scrack-a-boom and he's getting knocked into a column. So I've got white along the edges of that splash page.
Really?
And bro, it is so yellowed. Like all the people who want to say newsprint doesn't matter, like it looks just as good, you can just shut right the fuck up because it looks like trash years later. I'm sorry, dude. I mean,
some fighting words.
Dude, fuck them. Come, bring it on.
My glossy pages look as fresh as they were the day they were printed.
Dude, well, that's the thing is I'm looking at my issue 6 here.
It doesn't smell like mildew.
Dude, it doesn't stink. It's not miscolored. The whites are super bright. It looks like it was printed yesterday. I look at this fucking issue 7 of mine. It is yellowed as fuck, dude. It's so yellow. There's like yellow everywhere.
Stop putting it in direct sunlight, dude.
I didn't. This shit came out of a plastic sleeve. It's weird. I don't know.
You don't have a giant humidor you store your comics in?
Well, must be nice.
Climate controlled.
Craig goes, Jarvis. Yes, master. Open the door. Open the door to my comic cavern. Yes, Craig.
Just for my Savage
It
Dragon.
would be like 102 degrees and 0 moisture.
This is a beautiful cover. I love it. Love this cover.
It almost... Okay, this is going to be weird to say. This almost seems like it's older. It almost feels like after the last cover, this one almost feels like a throwback cover, if that's, for a series that's 7 issues old. I don't know.
Why do you say that?
Just the coloring seems like an older previous cover.
You know it looks old to me. Like, because my newsprint cover.
Right. Well, the cover
is yellowed. No, but I mean, it still looks like weirdly yellowed.
The inking is a little scratchier.
Yeah.
The thing that distracts me is a little weird, and I don't think he would do this nowadays, is all the action lines.
You don't like that? I was about to praise them.
No. They're curved. They're not straight.
Well, no, that's what I love. I was about to praise that big punch.
I think it's cool, but I think it's really busy, and I don't think he would do that in a comic nowadays. Like, he's got the swooping punch, but then he's got all these, like, lines, like, ejecting out of, of it. Like,
I love
showing the impact.
To me, that's
cool.
That's manga as fuck. I love it, dude.
I like the glow of, like, hitting the face.
Yep.
Yeah, like hit spark.
Exactly. Well, that's what the motion lines kind of remind you of, is hit spark.
Dude, so to me, Craig, I feel the complete opposite. I love those motion lines sell that punch so goddamn good. And the only thing that is weird to me, because I do have a tiny gripe, is that the line work of Overlord's cape goes up and under the logo.
Yeah,
it's got like the see-through logo.
It's got like a transparency thing going on for some reason.
I don't like
it's
that.
Not even full,
I don't like
it's
it
not
either.
even full transparency. He painted the logo a different color than his cape, so it's not even transparent. Yep. It's like screened. It's a screen.
Yeah, it's real weird. So to me, there's my little nitpick. But as far as like,
it's weird too because even the lines go through the and savage, the S and savage.
Yeah,
it makes it look weird.
Yeah, it is.
Well, there's
and the image eye.
There's a weird
for some reason.
There's also a weird tangent going on here. Okay, you see the swoop of Overlord's fist up near the end. All right, so you see the inner line that kind of goes in. There's the major curved one on the right, and then there's the slightly curved one on the left. You see how the one on the left goes up to the end, and then above it you see another line jutting out?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
That jutting out one probably shouldn't be there.
It's a choice.
It is a choice.
Some choices were made. I still think it's strong, though. I think this cover's strong.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's great impact. Dragon looks great. The fin looks pretty good.
Overlord looks cool as fuck.
Got his hood up. Overlord doesn't wear his hood anymore. I think that's actually something I never really thought about. Is like all post Sagetti Overlords don't really wear the hood. That was kind of a Sagetti thing.
It's too Doctor Doomish.
Yeah, but it is.
It's all good in the hood.
This is the original Invincible versus Omni-Man comic. This is kind of what it all led up to when you were reading it back then. You're like, oh shit, now they're gonna face each other.
Hero's gonna fight the bad guy.
Craig, you are not fucking kidding, dude. That's the perfect metaphor, because when I read this shit, I was like, God damn, he's taking on his big bad villain.
But you know what's crazy? They've never met before this issue.
They know of each other, though.
I'm sure they're aware of each other. I mean,
which makes sense, because why would Overlord, like, he's up in the tower commanding shit.
Yeah. What was the wordplay in the cartoon? Jim, that was the funniest reference, you know? Like, what was that stupid, like, Dragon looks at the sign and he's like, it's not Overlord. He rearranged the
it's
letters.
something shoes. It was, I can't remember the exact name. It was something shoes.
The Dragon just looks and sees that and like, for the lover. But even this splash page, dude, Dragon's hand cannon, I love that giant goddamn tube gun. Like, I love it, dude.
Frank gets a giant, like, Uzi thing, and he gets this, like, high-tech giant tube gun.
Yeah, it is fucking awesome. This, like, the silhouette, like, everything, like, their eyes are blacked out, and, like, it's nothing but black, like, darkness with just, like, a square to represent the floor of the elevator.
Yep.
Yeah, you can picture them just waiting for the elevator door to open. Like, they're just cruising up it.
It's kind of interesting how you don't hear anything about, like, any resistance for them coming in.
Nah, they just fucking rode the elevator. That's it.
Can anyone just ride the elevator? If you ride to the top, do you just die to Overlord so no one does it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, you got to think.
Yeah, like, if you're going to face Overlord, are you going to take his elevator up there?
I know, right?
And what's funny is Dragon makes a comment about how he should have just blown up the building. And I'm like, well, fuck yeah.
I mean, I guess you could 9/11 it, but it doesn't seem very safe to the surround.
Can you imagine, like, a cop just blowing up an entire building to get a guy?
You might get slapped with some, what's the word? What Dark got in trouble for?
Fucking Vanguard's in jail right now for property damage.
Excessive force, exactly.
Property damage and excessive force? Goddamn Dragon, I'll have your badge on my desk.
Dragon standing there covered in dust.
Exactly. Cry me a river, Stewart. It worked.
Not that it would matter, because Overlord could totally survive that. His armor's pretty strong.
Okay. You imagine how mad he'd be, though.
I don't know. Overlord seems like the kind of guy, if you drop a building on him, he'll just kind of walk out and then blow you up and then keep walking. Like, it wouldn't even perturb him that much.
It's good, though, guys. I mean, an all splash page issue.
Well, that's the thing. Like... We should talk about that real quick. This whole issue's gimmick is that every page is a splash page.
Yeah. And goddamn, all killer, no filler, dude.
Yeah. It's a very, very. It's an action-heavy issue, but also it also reads kind of quick because it is all splash pages, and I think that's why. I think that was one of the big downsides of this issue is just that there's. When you limit yourself to what is essentially only 20 panels, 22 panels in this era, you got to be really good with your space.
Well, dude, that's why it's an impressive, like, fucking feat. You are essentially reading, like you said, a 20-panel fight. And so it really technically shouldn't be like what you'd call good. But like, goddamn, dude, he knocked it out of the park. Like, this shit still hits just as fucking hard as it did the day I read it. Like, this is still fucking like, and the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, oh yeah!
I bet you 7 and 8 are the most memorable Savage Dragon comics in general to most fans.
To most fans, I bet, yeah.
This is only 20 pages long. I guess they weren't 22 even in this era. For some reason, I thought Eric reduced himself from 22 to 20 at some point, but even now it's 20.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, Frank and Dragon, they ride up the elevator and they tell Overlord that they've got a warrant for his arrest?
You're under arrest, sir. Come
do you
quietly.
think, like, I mean, I guess they had to do it, like, by the book, but, like, did they think for a minute that was going to work?
Well, I mean, that's the question. I mean, it eventually comes out that this was all somewhat staged.
But they still got to do it.
They still got to do it. They got to follow procedure.
No one's there. I wouldn't do it. I'd just be like, it's ass-kicking time. Dude, when Frank got blasted, like, I want to know what was your... Okay, first of all, question.
First skeleton.
Am I talking? Yeah, no joke. Am I talking to two cats that read this shit back in the day?
God, no. Fuck no. I read this
okay.
I read this in a... Go ahead, Craig.
No, go ahead.
I read this in the second trade paperback, Force to be Reckoned With, I believe, which I bought within a couple of months of me starting to read Dragon. I'm pretty sure I bought both first volumes within a couple of months of getting 90. So I definitely read this like early on when I started reading.
What about you, Craig?
I read this, but I cannot remember. It's so long ago, I can't remember what my reaction is because I've reread it so many times in so many formats since that you forget what your reaction is. But I'm sure I was blown away.
Also, dude, first skeleton, first Jesus.
I remember when I flipped that page and Frank got Terminator, like fucking Sarah Connor holding the fence, like you're a fucking skeleton on fire.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn! Like, dude, it blew my fucking mind, dude. It blew my balls off. This whole fucking scene. I was like, because you just don't expect, you're used to in comics, like, shit doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, the whole time I'm thinking, oh, they're going to have a real good tussle, and they're going to live. Like, I mean, I knew Dragon was a bloody book, but, like, goddamn, Frank got atomized.
Yeah.
His bones.
It's just skeleton.
It's fucking shards. His bones dust, dude. So be it. Jesus! Like, fucking, wow. Even his fucking gun is dust.
Yeah, I mean, that was my question. Where'd Dragon's gun go?
Shot in the dust, dude.
Yeah.
God damn. And again, like, just like the cover, those lines, like those action lines, woo!
Well, here it works a lot better because it's coming off of a big hand blast, so you get they read more as like light rays than action rays, but they serve the same purpose.
I want to see. I got to pull out my archives and see what this looks like in black and white.
Pretty good. I have seen it that way. There's a lot of bone shards.
I bet it's
it
gorgeous.
must look amazing.
Yeah,
all the ink splatter. He's got those weird panels that he did for a while, with like the weird, like smudgy, like borders.
It's 90s. It's super 90s. That like extreme like scroll. It's like marker scribble.
You can sort of see it at the top of the big. What is it? Hold on, I have to hold up this issue because this sound effect is so long. This is saying Frawoosh. Is a Frawoosh. So at the top of the Frawoosh page, you can sort of see those kind of squiggles at the top on the.
Well, if you look at both pages, what you got going on here is it's like as if the blast was so goddamn powerful.
Oh, yeah.
That this panel is tilted.
Yeah, I don't notice that when you hold it really up close to your face. You don't notice that. You got to really hold it back.
Yeah.
To really get that effect. But you're right. The whole panel is shooken.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
See, we're learning things we've never seen before. There's always secrets to be found.
I can't swear it, but I feel like those long lines, probably, in comics, everything's got 7 names. Word balloon, thought bubble, thought cloud, word balloon, speech bubble. But I feel like I've heard pretty consistently those lines that we're talking about on the cover, and specifically the ones coming off the hand blast called like zip lines. And
yeah, go ahead.
And basically it's just like meant to like fucking emphasize like action.
I've known them as speed lines.
Speed lines works too.
Zip was more zip-a-tone.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard them called zip lines.
Well, speed lines, zip lines, like basically it's like to indicate like, woof, like just like something's like fucking really.
But again,
moving.
These almost read more like God rays because I think they're coming from the light source. But they serve both purposes.
I think, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I just think they just really work, dude. They work so good. And then you got a really awesome, like the old football charge dragon. You're going to pay. Like, just with the hands in the air. So good, dude.
Not thrilled about his jacket in this.
The sleeveless trench coat.
Sleeveless trench coat look he's got going on in this issue.
Yeah.
He's still hanging on to that look for a while.
Yeah.
I incorrectly said that was a Ninja Turtles thing, but it absolutely is here in this super iconic issue.
Yeah.
You got another one of those like weird panels on the other page where.
But it's very 3D. Don't you think it creates like a 3D look? Like Dragon.
Yeah,
like,
all the speed lines.
Yeah, like Dragon coming up out of the panel. And
it's very, very manga type action.
Yes, dude. And even I was going to say, like, you don't have a lot of this in Dragon as much as you had in Spawn. But, like, you can see, like, that "It matters to me" in red. And for that, you're going to pay this man. Like, it's in red.
With a bubble, like, circle, like, got, like, the red highlights around it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
You used to see this a lot back in the day. You don't see it much anymore. Now, the sound effects that are transparent.
Oh, that is unique. You definitely do not see that.
It's good, though. It's a nice space saver. Because it's like you get a big old fucking sound effect, but it's not covering up the art. Because if that was solid, that wouldn't look good.
It would ruin that 3D effect you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, speaking of manga, those exclamation points at the end almost look like kanji.
I get it.
You get it?
It's one of the... Yeah. Like, the thing is, and what's funny is, like, their sound effects will have, like, exclamation points and shit. Yeah. Again, that's another thing you don't see so much these days. Like, you really don't see, like, kaboom with a big exclamation point. But, I mean, even on the next page, you got scrack-a-boom, and it's got 2 exclamation points right there.
Yeah, you don't usually see that exclamation
Until you know it's
points.
serious.
I love that. He just busts a column in that skyscraper. Just
dude.
Shatters it. And I love the shot of Cyberface in his cell.
I will say that is, honest to goodness, an iconic image. There's a few in this issue. But that image of Cyberface with the poisoned food, that's an iconic image, dude.
The dirty toilet water?
Yeah.
They're screwed now. I mean...
Right, because now they don't have the evidence they went to arrest him for in the first place.
Right.
So, like, Dragon's getting double ass kicked.
Yeah.
So Frank's dead, Dragon's getting his ass kicked, Cyberface is dead.
And that's the thing.
It's all gone wrong.
You only got 20 pages, but dude, like storytelling, you know what I mean? Like you're getting story development in this 20-page fight scene. Oh, it's so good.
I will say this.
Yeah.
This is a very strange line for Overlord to say, in my opinion. Because he doesn't talk very much, but he talks a bit in this issue. I'm the meanest son of a bitch in this town. I don't know. I always kind of picture him as more regal than that.
Yeah, he's an ex-mobster.
Yeah.
As we come to find out.
Well, what's great is there's that little hint there. He's like, no freak can take that away from me. Like, there's your little hint. Like, he's not a freak under that armor.
Right.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, I would think he would say, I'm the meanest son of a bitch. Like, regal, I think you're getting fooled by the Doom, like, parallels.
Right.
Like,
that's true.
I think, like, he totally would be like, because he's always threatening people and shit like that, so...
It's so funny, more of these, like, 3D panels where, like, dragons flying out of it. This time it's, like, in red ink.
It's so good, dude. I love it. Like,
getting hit through another wall.
Now, this is a good 2-panel sequence where Dragon's getting popped through the panel, and then it switches to him getting hit against the back wall.
I get what you're saying. You're talking about the flow of motion.
Indeed.
Yep. There's the two camps. There's the people that think that doesn't matter, and then there's the people that really seriously
Then there are the people who are wrong. You're right.
Who thinks that what doesn't matter?
Flow of motion. Because basically, essentially, as long as you, like, the people who think it doesn't matter, it's like, well, as long as you understand the sequence, like, it doesn't really matter if the flow of motion is left to right or whatever. But, like, what we're seeing here on this 2-page spread, where, like, Overlord is on the left, punching Dragon to the right, and then on the right page, Dragon is traveling again from the left to the right. It's like the flow of motion for the people that love it and, like, need it. Like, this 2-page spread is, like, perfect flow of motion. It's awesome.
I think it works a lot better.
Yeah, I don't, like, after years of seeing it done wrong, I don't need it to be that way. Like, you can get to where you don't need it. But I will say, when it's right, it helps.
Can we talk about the next page?
Yeah,
when
we're going page by page, but only because there aren't that many to go through, and every single one of these pages is like one of the more iconic Dragon moments.
Yeah.
Right. How not iconic, but this is definitely an Eric Larson pose, that hand.
Yeah.
Well, it's
it's
a Dragon is down pose, because he's gotten his ass kicked for a while, but now he's getting back to his feet.
But that hand position is something that's unique to, I feel like, Eric's style.
It's a bit of a football stance. It's a bit of a gorilla stance, yeah.
The limp wrist.
Yeah, the limp wrist.
Well, it's not limp.
Yep.
He's using his knuckles to steady himself.
No, but I know what Raven's saying. He's just saying that position of the wrist, that comes up a lot on panels in Savage Dragon. If you know what I mean.
There's see how Dragon is crouched? Like, there's kind of almost like a football charge that Dragon and, like, other Larson characters do.
Not a fan of the way the blood was colored. It looks too, like it's popped out.
On this newsprint, it's not so bad.
No.
Although what is funny on this newsprint is on the opposite page where you have the doom and he's punching him into the column. The darkness of the, like, web effects, which is just goddamn awesome. It's more dark around Overlord than it is on the rest of the column.
Now, I'm going to say this. The Doom font seems very, like, evocative of a Thor font. But the Thor font that I'm thinking of, I think, comes from way later than when this issue is published.
No, Simonson Thor is before.
Is this the Simonson Thor era Thor logo?
As a matter of fact.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it. You're right. It is.
We'll see in the letters page. Eric talks about how he was going for an experiment that Simonson did with Thor, with the one panel per page.
Right. So it makes sense that he would make a reference.
I guess it still seems a weird type of.
Really?
I don't know. I guess the cool thing is it kind of makes you feel like I don't know. It's almost like represents the Overlord armor.
Yeah.
Like punching the armor, the sound effect almost looks like Overlord's armor.
Well, it's like, imagine like it's metallic, like you're running your fist into this metallic dude, and you're right, Craig, like it's the visual. I say this all the time, and like it's funny that like there's enough people that just don't give a shit anymore, that people really like, oh, whatever, old man, whatever. But I'm like, dude, comics are words and pictures, and it's a visual medium. So like the way you're saying this sound effect is like evocative of like Overlord's armor. Yes, dude. Yeah. I'm sure that's not a mistake. I'm sure that was intentional.
Right. Absolutely.
Even the colors match his
armor. You wouldn't
armor.
just decide to switch the font like that as a mistake. Like that's done on purpose.
Right. This is beautiful.
The other thing, I mean, we're kind of just dogging on the Dragon trench coat, but in a scene like this where they're up on the top of the building and the wind's blowing, it kind of looks cool. Like you just picture like they're duking it out, the wind's just kind of rushing through the broken windows or wherever they are, the cityscapes below, and they're the cloaks are just flapping away in the wind.
A cape, one of the things a cape does for a comic character is it just sells motion. In a static image, like it sells motion. So like, his tattered trench coat like trailing behind him. Hell yeah, dude.
Well, it's not trailing behind him. He's cutting through it. Like, his trench coat's blowing one way, but he's going through it another way.
On the Doom panel.
That's what I'm talking about. See how the cape is curved, like, behind him? So, like Craig said, the wind is, like, blasting it off the side of the building, but Dragon's shoving right through it.
It still shows you where he's been. I'm just saying, like, he's coming from, like, you know, where he was to punch him in the... It just sells motion.
Right.
It's good. Speaking of the funny thing is Savage Dragon, I've always thought it was funny about him is that, like, he can look like a goddamn evil character.
Well, he is an evil character. He's a goddamn villain.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, on this, your reign of terror
his
is
Emperor
over.
Kerr is coming out.
Yeah, big time, dude. Like, he looks evil as shit on this fucking panel as of now.
He's in brain-eating mode.
Can I just tell you, this Jason Pearson pinup, I love it.
Oh, yeah, it's intermission time, everybody.
Yeah, for the pinup.
Go get your popcorn.
Yeah, but I do think, here's the thing. There is a staple right in the middle of Van's face.
It sure is.
Yeah.
That could not have been worse placement.
Yeah,
like,
because it's going to either be a hole or you're going to damage it slightly, bending the staple back. So it doesn't really look great as a poster if there's a big hole right in his face.
There's going to be a hole and a crease.
Jason Pearson ended up drawing issue 2 of Vanguard, and we'll get to that on another retro down the line. But
well, I actually have a lot of experience with Jason Pearson recently.
Lay it on us.
He draws an extended run on Legion of Superheroes coming out a little bit before this time, and he's definitely a highlight art-wise of that era.
Yeah,
he's real good with that pen.
Even on this thing, the like again, like just the action, like just the angle on that ship and like the way the lasers are like coming down, like, man,
yeah,
it's good. This is good.
Well, I would say in Vanguard, he might be my favorite issue, and there's a lot of heavy hitters in there, and guys who, on name alone, I would have thought would have done a better issue. But his Vanguard issue, I mean, it's good. It's good. Like, he did a great job on it.
It's funny you're saying that, Craig, because I totally agree. I put him right up there with Joe Mad.
Yeah, those two in particular are probably the highlight of that.
I would have thought Rick Leonardi and Joe Mad would have been the best ones, and I'm almost going to say I think I've got to revisit them all again, but I think Pearson, for my money, was the one that really did the best.
I believe it, because like I said, he's done like a bunch of Legion of Superhero stuff before he did this pinup, and he's got chops. So I would not be of those people.
I loved his Body Bags series, which was great.
I was going to say, he's Body Bags, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I knew his name, and I knew I recognized his, as dumb as this sounds, I knew I recognized his cartoon women.
Oh, yeah. They're very distinctive.
Smoking women.
They're very unique, but like I couldn't quite place him. But Body Bags, got it. That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to read that Vanguard stuff. We'll give him a lot more praise for sure.
When did were the other Image books? I think Spawn was doing posters like Savage Dragon. It's such a weird thing because, like, I don't remember. There was no, like, Marvel books weren't doing posters and stuff. And Dragon had the longest run of posters.
Yeah, we're in a period of posters, and
and it lasts a long time. But it's not like there was ever a precedent, like in other comics, to do this.
Right.
Besides maybe Spawn. I think Spawn was doing it.
And these are just 2 regular pages of the comic. So it's a 32-page comic of which you're using 4 pages to do this poster.
Which is funny because you sacrifice 8 pages of letters. You could ditch some letters, you know what I mean? And then, like, have your normal page count be the same. Go ahead. Oh, all I was going to say, no, you know what? Your thought's probably more related. I was about to take something somewhere else, but with posters. But keep going.
Well, I was just going to say, I just remember being excited to see what the next poster was going to be like. Like, it was fun. It was like, oh, shit, so-and-so, Jay Lee's going to do Dragon, or, Deadly Duo by Eric Larson. Who's the Deadly Duo? Like, I want to see this,
Agreed. I actually, with this whole COVID-19 thing, I was just thinking the other day. I was like, you know what? Like, we were talking so much about like the medium not being fully utilized, and one thing a print comic could do that like a digital comic could never do, include a damn poster. You know what I mean? Like, put a coloring sheet in there. As dumb as that fucking sounds to say out loud, it's a little way to work your format that digital can never compete with. And you need stuff like that, honestly. I would love to see posters come back. Would I be hanging posters all over my wall? I mean, I do have posters on my wall. I don't know, but if it looked good enough, sure, fuck it. I'll put it up. But it'd just be cool that it would fucking exist. Like, I don't know. Just saying. Posters, dude. Bring them back.
Nintendo Power had posters in every issue, but because that book was had a glued spine, you could never get them out properly.
Didn't make sense, did it?
So
didn't make sense.
We're returning to the main story, of course. We get Overlord blasting Dragon's hand off.
Dude, and again,
our second Jesus.
This blew my fucking balls.
Because let's not forget, Dragon has not been injured like this yet.
Yes, dude.
This has never happened before.
Dude, when I saw this, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, the bad guy's winning. Like, big time.
Super winning.
And the placement behind the poster. So even though it is on the right-hand side, you don't see this until you flip the poster.
I didn't think about that. That crafty Eric Larson did it again.
Yes, dude. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you flip this poster and then it's like, whoosh, and his fucking hands.
And what's really good is, okay, so remember we talked last issue how I didn't really appreciate those two double-page spreads being like two different sides of the conflict, and it didn't really work in my mind?
Sure.
Look at the page preceding the hand being blown off. Dragon's coming in with his right hand, and Overlord's lifting up his left. Flip the page, Overlord's blasting with his left, shooting Dragon's right.
Oh, baby.
This is how you flip the camera.
That's a sweet sequential art. And what's funny is I've praised him in previous FINcasts, but if you really love that stuff, pay attention, because Savage Dragon's fucking full of stuff like that. Like, a dude will be rearing back with his right hand on one page, and then the next page he's like swinging with the right. And so...
and you get Dragon's face, like you were saying before, it looks like an evil bastard to like helpless on the next when he's getting blasted.
Yes, dude, it's awesome.
I love the shading on the fin, on the image where he's getting blasted, where it's, you know, the brightness of the flare from the glove is like got his other side of the fin really darkly shaded.
Yep.
Yeah. And his face is like white because it's so close to the blast.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so fucking awesome, dude. Again, his hand is just like fucking shards. Because in your mind, when you're reading this at the time, you've seen Dragon do so much that you put his invulnerability level at just, he can't fucking be hurt really hardly. And then to just get him seen like fucking dude Overlord
losing a limb,
just pokes holes in him like fucking nothing. Even you flip the page, I mean the old 1-2 punch, dude. You flip the page and then boom, there goes a torso.
Yeah, you're like, how does he come back from this?
Yeah,
come on.
I mean, previously the worst he's ever been is he lost a lot of blood to the shrew.
That's it.
Right. Or to Hellraiser.
Oh, right. Yeah. It was Hellraiser cut him up. Right, yeah.
Passing out in the grocery store.
Right, that's what I was talking about, right.
Yep.
But right here, Overlord took his hand, his right hand, and put a freaking hole size of, I don't know.
A watermelon?
Easy.
Yeah, through his chest or stomach, I don't know. and then knocks him through the window.
And then, as if that isn't enough, because I mean, goddamn, this falling from the top of the building sequence, beautiful. I mean, this is why motherfuckers want a Savage Dragon movie, because this shit is cinematic as fuck.
Your end of Act 2 will be pretty good.
It's not enough that he falls from the building, because again, I remember my thoughts reading this shit, dude.
Be better if you end the movie like this.
Dude, it blew. Can you imagine? Like, audience reactions? They thought that Thanos shit was a big deal. Can you imagine if you left the theater and Savage Dragon was impaled on a big spike?
I love how, like, he gets knocked through the window. You get the big sound. So throughout this whole issue is sound effects everywhere. Giant ass sound effects, right? And then you get the two scenes where he's just falling. And you could picture if this was cinematic, it would just be no sound almost.
Yep. No sounds, just slow motion.
Yeah, which is just amazing. Dude,
it's fucking incredible. Like I said, to this day, this shit blows my balls off. It's fucking insane. And then, like you said, Craig, all of a sudden the sound's back on. Boom, he's like right on this fucking spike. And then
you see his stump hand.
And then Overlord gets that cheeky, almost Ghostbusters-like moment.
Yeah,
where he's super cocky, like as if you didn't just witness the bad guy fucking basically kill the lead of the comic. And he's like, in your next life, when somebody suggests you leave or face their wrath, leave. It's so good, dude.
Can we talk about the coloring? I thought the coloring is great. You know, it's like it's almost dusk. I love how like the city looks golden. You know, the hues.
Yeah.
Just the lighting of the streets below and the streetscape. It's good. It's good.
There's a number of coloring moments on this that still absolutely hold up to this day. You talked about the light of his fin, you know, and his face was white. But then, like, to choose to make the skeletal, like, shards, you know, to color hold on those and have them be that dark crimson red. Mwah. Beautiful.
Well, there's 57 color separators on this issue alone.
Are there?
That's like at least 8.
Yeah, there are. You're right.
Olympics is a company, so it could be any number of people.
Yeah.
It actually
or all the optics. Or
Teeny Wolf. It's a good name. Just fantastic. Fantastic issue. I mean, honest to goodness, 10 out of 10. Still reads as good today as it did the day I read it.
That last panel, the blood just dripping down the hand. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh shit.
But did you notice it's the wrong hand?
Oh, you're right.
I'm just fucking with you. No, it's not.
It's not.
It's his left hand. I'm just kidding.
No, you're right. It's not.
That would suck.
It's the left hand. It's correct. But Craig, you know, on the letters column, you called our attention to something on the last one.
I know what you're going to call. I know.
Do you already know? Go ahead.
Is it something you guys talk about all the time?
Oh, okay. Maybe not. Go ahead.
Wait, maybe not. It's either, well, you talk about both these things all the time.
Oh, go ahead. Shoot.
Does it have anything to do about the video game?
Nah, mine was issue 0. He just tells Adam Szynski. Adam says, I'd like to know if you could sell...
There'll never be a 0.
Yeah, if you could sell me or tell me where I could get Savage Dragon number 0. And then he goes, there's no Savage Dragon 0 or any Ashcans, and there won't ever be.
They're both Ashcans and issue 0.
Yep. And then here...
the one... Go ahead.
I was going to say here he also, like... This is the letter I was referring to when we were doing 6, where he talks about Dung, the DJ, coming in. He's a pal of Al Gordon, Wildstar.
Makes sense.
And he would come in, and that's where Eric was like, this guy's great. He'd make a great villain. All right, I'll shut up. You were saying.
No, I was just saying the one that says, will there ever be a Dragon video game? And he says, eventually. This is the kind of thing you don't want to rush. The longer the game is worked on, the better the game is.
25 years is a long time. That game's going to be excellent.
Oh, there's another one too. Oh, shoot. If I can't find it, we're going to have to miss it. But
Dragon will date soon. He's been busy. There's so many good ones in here, dude. I mean, like...
There's a... Crap. I don't know. I guess I'm not going to find it.
Take your time.
I'll have to... Well, I don't want to drag it on.
Well, no, here's what you do. You look while I ask Jim and generic. So, Jim... On a scale of 1 to 10, dude, like reading it within your modern context, like revisiting this, like how would you say this holds up, like to this day?
It is one of the most iconic Savage Dragon issues.
Yes.
I would say it's not my favorite.
Okay.
But it is top 10 material.
Top 10? I'll take it. Top 5?
No, maybe not top 5.
Okay, top 10's good, though.
Close, though. Probably knocking on the door.
Top 10, okay. So what? In what way do you think? Like what could have been executed better? Because to me, it's a 10 out of 10.
It's not
flawless.
a question of execution in this case. It's just that I think there are better issues.
Oh, okay, sure.
Better 10 out of 10ers.
I get it. It's one of your Hattori Hanzo sword things.
I guess I would only rank it about a 9 out of 10.
9's good, dude. I'll take it.
I mean, you were complimenting the coloring.
Mm-hmm.
The coloring is fine.
Okay.
But I don't think it's exceptional.
Okay, sure.
I think it's still trying to find its color. I don't think this issue is as well colored as the issue before it. And it might have to do with like the number of people who were involved in it. It's possible this issue was in production longer.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like I said, it's good for its era.
9, dude. Top 10 and rating a 9, I'll take it. Absolutely. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. For me, is like if somebody looked at me and they're like, "What's Savage Dragon all about?" and they were only gonna read one issue,
this is definitely one of them.
I'd put this in their hands. I'd be like, "Well, here you go, bro. Just you want to know what Savage Dragon's like? And you're only gonna read one issue, and you're not gonna give it a fucking chance past that. Read this issue and tell me what you think." I guarantee.
I personally don't think this issue long fight issue is as good as the Dark Dragon versus Kerr issue, for example. Mostly because that issue doesn't do the splash page thing, so it feels like a longer, hardier read.
Sure. I'll wrap this tub around your head.
I don't think if I'm going to give someone one issue to read, I don't think this is it, just because it's more of an experiment issue.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going to give someone 5 issues to read, this is going to be in it.
Right.
Now,
I'll take it.
I put it definitely in my top 10. I think you've also got to factor in not knowing what you know now. Now that you know everything, so like the impact of Dragon losing his arm the blast isn't as good. But if you're reading it for the first time and knowing what we knew up to that point, this is a game changer and a mind blower. And it still stands. Like I said, you ask most people that collected or collect, about issues they remember, or if you pulled someone that was a Savage Dragon fan and said, without looking it up or thinking about it, tell me your top 5 most memorable issues. 90% of the time, I'm sure someone will reference this issue.
Absolutely.
Or something to do with the landing on the spike.
And I also want to say that, again, I think just the chops involved, as a creator, to be able to pull off an all splash page issue. Goddamn, it's hard, dude. I mean, it's hard. And so you would think, oh man, this is fun and easy. I don't have to do layouts. I don't have to do any problem solving, really. It's just one big picture after another. Dude, it is hard. It is hard to make an all splash page issue. To make it good, I mean. Anybody can draw 20 big pictures, but damn, dude, there's storytelling in this, Fucking Frank dies, and then fucking Cyberface is fucking poisoned, so there goes their informant. And then not only that, but there's that little illusion of Sagetti being no freak can take that from me. So you kind of get a little peel behind the mask, and then
seeing how strong Overlord is.
Yeah.
To this point, he's just blown away little goons. You don't know he can overpower Savage Dragon easily.
Right, easily, yeah. And that's the thing is, again, Dragon has been shown to just be the solution to every problem that's put in front of him.
Right.
And fucking Overlord just fucking wipes the floor with him, and it's awesome. It's awesome shit. It challenges what you knew, because at the time, you had never seen Dragon really take any kind of beating. But goddamn, he gets...
That's not true. He's definitely taken a beating
before.
this,
though?
But he's never lost. I mean, even against Hellraiser, he won. Right?
Yeah.
And then he blacked out.
But you're right. He fucking just loses this fight, in every way. Fucking Frank's dead. Fucking Cyberface is dead. If this ended with Overlord stomping a puppy, it couldn't have been more impactful. I'm just saying, this is a gut punch.
Agreed.
I will also
say that letter I was looking for.
Okay, good, yeah.
It's actually in issue 6. I thought it was in 7.
That's okay.
We'll go back to issue 6 letters just because it's funny. So this one is from Joe Hoffman, address withheld. Dear Eric, Just a note to say I only buy Savage Dragon because of the way you draw Dart. Will you be drawing a Dart comic? I know Dart will be in Freak Force, but I don't care much for Vic Bridges' art. Hope there will be a scene of Dart in bondage. Not afraid to ask, Joe Hoffman. And then Eric's response. It's nice to know what kind of audience I'm cultivating here, Joe. I like the way Vic Bridges draws Dart. I think Freak Force looks great.
Oh,
weirdo.
You know, can I tell you, as an artist, people do not give a fuck to ask you to draw.
Know.
They'll ask you to draw. Real quick anecdote on that, and this blew my mind. One of my buddies, he started teaching, and he told me that one of his students got in touch with him and he's like wanting him to do a pinup. All right, no big deal. Yep. Oh, it gets funny. He's like, so would you draw a futa for me? And
oh no.
and this guy asked me, he's like, I had to Google it, and I told him no. I said, you gotta admire the fact that he wasn't afraid to ask, because I couldn't ask.
Is this a high school student or college?
This has to be a young person, because he doesn't teach in college. So it's just kind of funny, because it's like, I would never ask a teacher, hey man, can you draw me some porn? I would never do it. It's just so funny. But people don't give a fuck. They'll ask artists anything, dude. They don't care. I guess they figure if you're putting it out there, you're just not too, worried about it. It's funny. It's funny as shit. I also found a letter while we were talking that said, Eric said, I like the posters too. I'll keep doing them. Bring them back. Bring them back, I say. So, fellas, overall, you feeling finished with these 2 legendary issues?
I think we covered about everything we can. We found Mighty Man, and we saw the panel breaking borders.
We saw the freaks quit the police force.
I learned that zip lines are speed lines, and you guys learned that speed lines are zip lines.
True. I suppose we did learn that.
I feel like we went on a real journey together today.
We did.
Fellas. Yeah.
These are important issues to cover. They're going to inform a lot of what's going to be coming up in the next several years, if not decades, to be honest. Because the founding of Freak Force and Dragon's first ass beating by Overlord unlock a lot of stuff that makes this series great.
Yeah. Mildred left Frank right before he went and got killed.
Yeah.
Do you think she felt like, whew, lucky me? Or she was like, oh, well, damn.
Never thought about it.
I'm just saying the timing. Poor Frank, he got nothing to lose.
Right.
Doesn't he, though? So I think that wraps this episode up. Of course, you can always drop us an email at savagefincast@gmail.com or comment on this video at our website, savagefincast.com. Or find us on Facebook. We're on the Eric Larson Savage Dragon fan group. We typically post the FINcast episodes there, so you can leave us a comment there as well. Yeah, we're always looking for feedback, advice, advice and love. Whatever.
Tell us your thoughts. Like, if you remember where you were and what you thought when you first read.
Who was the first artist you asked for Fuda?
Well, I would like to know that, but also more Savage Dragon centric. If you can tell us how you felt when you read issue 7, I would love to know some more people's impressions. I would love to know where their headset was when they read that. Mindset, not headset. All right, fellas. Thanks for chatting the Savage Dragon. Thanks for listening, folks.
Thank you.
Have a good one.